All right, so we're diving into Everybody Can't Go. Bold title, right? Benny the Butcher doesn't mess around.
No, he doesn't. It's more than just a title, though, isn't it? It's like he's laying out a whole philosophy right there on the track list.
Hmm.
Ambitious, especially in the hip-hop world.
And this is his fourth studio album, A Legend in the Underground, now signed with Def Jam Dot. Talk about a turning point. What does this title tell us about where Benny's at in his career, would you say?
Well, by 24, Benny had already made his mark. Tana Talk 4, that whole era. But everybody can't go. It hits different, feels like leveling up, and not just the music. This is personal.
So more than just making it, it's about what you got to sacrifice to get there.
Exactly. That shedding process, realizing some people, some things, maybe even parts of yourself, they can't come along for this ride.
Heavy stuff. You think that's coming from experience?
Oh, absolutely. This isn't theoretical for Benny. Growing up in Buffalo, a city that knows hardship that shapes you.
Man, and it's like life threw everything at him making this album. House fire, divorce, even the FBI raiding his studio. Talk about pressure. That had to bleed into the music, right?
No doubt. New levels, new devils. That's the thread through the whole thing. He's facing those demons head on, and you hear it in his lyrics, raw and real.
Especially on tracks like Jermaine's Graduation. Man, the weight of those experiences, the reflection, the honesty. It hits hard.
That honesty, that's what makes Benny such a powerful storyteller. He's not running from the darkness, he's using it.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the sound of the album, the sonic landscape.
And what a landscape it is.
Yeah.
2024, hip-hop's changing. You got artists going melodic, pushing boundaries. But here comes Benny, here comes Griselda with this raw, almost old-school sound. Risky.
Breath of fresh air, more like it. In a genre that's always chasing the next trend, here's Benny with this gritty, sample-heavy sound. Alchemist, Hit-Boy, that's the magic right there.
Powerhouse duo, Alchemist, that grimy cinematic vibe. Hit-Boy brings the polish, the modern edge. How do those styles work with what Benny's doing on this album?
They create this world, a sonic world, that matches the weight of his words. Alchemist's rawness, Hit-Boy's finesse, struggle, aspiration, it's all reflected in the sound.
And the album starts with Jermaine's Graduation. What'd you think of that track? It's somber, reflective, almost sets the tone, like a warning shot.
Brilliant opener. Loss, growth, sacrifice, it's all right there. Benny's telling you, this is the journey we're about to take.
And it goes through some changes, huh? You got TMVTL, that haunting Alchemist vibe, then Braun, with Hit-Boy going almost electronic. Each track, it's like a chapter, right?
Deliberate, the
Yeah.
sequencing, ups and downs, just like Benny's own story.
Speaking of ups, we got to talk about these features. Benny brought the heavy hitters for this one.
Oh, for sure. Lil Wayne, Jadakiss, Snoop Dogg. These aren't just names. Each one adds something specific to the album's whole message. Jadakiss on Pillow Talk and Slander, that street wisdom, it fits perfectly with what Benny's talking about.
And Snoop, back again. Bridging generations, right. Some things about success, about struggling, they're timeless.
Exactly. And then you've got Griselda Express, Benny, West Side Gun, Conway the Machine, family reunion, man.
Anthem right there. Pure Griselda energy. But before we get into that whole sound, let's talk about one collab that had people talking, and not always positively. Lil Wayne on Big Dog. Some folks felt his verse, it didn't quite land. What are your thoughts?
I think even with the mixed reactions, you gotta respect Benny taking the chance. That's artistic growth right there, not playing it safe, even if it divides people.
And that fearlessness, it comes through in how committed he is to that Griselda sound. Griselda Express, perfect example. Raw, unapologetic, that chemistry between him, West Side, Conway. What is it about those three, man? They're a force.
Primal, almost, isn't it? You can't fake that. Their sound, it comes from somewhere real, and people feel that.
It's interesting you say that, because even with Everybody Can't Go, having that classic sound, there's a minimalism to Benny's delivery here. Like, he's letting the lyrics breathe.
It's exactly. Space.
Yeah.
The production gives those words room to hit harder. It's like he's saying, listen to what I'm saying, not just the beat around it.
It reminds me of old school hip hop, back when it was all about the lyrics, the storytelling, the wordplay.
The essence, right?
Yeah.
Strip away what you don't need, and you're left with the power of the words themselves. Benny's got that in spades.
And it's not just the words, it's how those minimalist beats set the mood.
Yeah.
You can practically feel the streets he's describing.
It's like the production. It becomes this backdrop, this sonic landscape that just heightens everything. TMVTL, man.
Yeah.
Alchemist. He creates this darkness, haunting, like stepping into a film noir, and Benny's your guide through it all.
Okay, but then you got a track like Brawn and Hit-Boy's going for this sleek, futuristic vibe. Shouldn't work with Benny's style, but it does. Why's that?
Because everybody can't go. It's about navigating these two worlds, right? The streets, that rawness, but also the desire for something more. Hit-Boy on Braun, that's that upward movement, the aspiration.
So even in the production, that theme of duality is there.
Exactly. Benny's not shying away from those contradictions in himself, in the world around him. That's growth.
This album, it really makes you want to listen close. Multiple times. There's always something new. And the features, they add to that richness. We talked Jadakiss, Snoop. But back to Griselda Express for a sec. What is it about that track that just hits different?
Solidarity, man.
Yeah.
Shared history, shared vision. When those three get together, it's like this force of nature. They complement each other perfectly, each one elevating the others. Pure synergy.
Bigger than just the music, almost, like a movement.
Right. It's a culture, a whole way of looking at the world, and they've built something real, something that people connect with, that authenticity matters.
Speaking of, let's talk impact. Everybody can't go. Does it push hip-hop forward? Is it trend-setting, or is Benny doing something different altogether?
Benny's not chasing trends. He's setting them. He's staying true to himself. And in doing that, he raises the bar for everybody, reminding us that hip-hop can be commercially successful and artistically brilliant, raw, introspective, thought-provoking, all at the same time.
Not shying away from the tough stuff either. Ambition, sacrifice, what it really costs to make it.
And that makes this album more than just a collection of songs. It's a testament to Benny's artistry, his journey, to staying true to who you are no matter what.
Coming back to that central theme, not everyone can handle that journey, those sacrifices.
Everybody can't go. It's more than a title. It's a challenge. You got to confront your own ambitions, what you're willing to give up. Decide who you're taking along for the ride.
It makes you think, everybody can't go. That's not just a hook, it sticks with you.
Yeah, Benny's making us look inward a little, isn't he? Our own journey's what we're chasing.
And he's real about it too. No sugarcoating. It's refreshing, honestly, especially in a world where everyone's selling an image.
Benny's showing you the cracks in the armor, and that makes him realer than most. Not just a rapper, a human being figuring it all out, just like the rest of us.
And it's not always about who you leave behind, right? Everybody can't go, but there's also that acknowledgement of who's been there all along.
100%. That loyalty, paying respect to where he came from, the people holding him down, that comes through in the music.
That duality again. Celebrating the wins, but remembering what it took to get there, who you might have lost along the way.
Bittersweet, isn't it? And Benny doesn't pretend it's not. Those complicated feelings, the doubt, it's all part of it.
And he does it all with these words, man. The more you listen to this album, the more you catch. Wordplay, layers of meaning, like peeling back an onion, but instead of tears, it's these truths about life hitting you.
Master storyteller. Plain and simple. And he's so specific in his experiences. But you connect with it even if you've never lived that life.
This has been a trip, breaking this album down with you. As we wrap up our deep dive into Everybody Can't Go, what's the one thing you hope people walk away with?
Matt being real, being vulnerable, that's where the art is, Your story, the messy parts and all. Betty did that with this album, and that's why it matters.
Success is a journey, not the destination, right? Sometimes the question isn't who's coming with me, it's who am I becoming? Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. Until next time, stay curious and keep those ears open.